Thank you, sir. Now, Representative Bonamici from Oregon.
Thank you very much to the chairman, to the ranking member, and thank you to the witnesses for being here and for bringing your expertise. We know that chemistry can drive innovation, but we also know that it should not be done without sound science behind it. You know, Congress created the EPA. I think everybody acknowledged that this morning to protect human health and the environment. But I'll add that the purpose is not to fast-track profits. It's to protect human health and the environment. So last year when the Trump administration shut down the EPA's Office of Research and Development and then fired or displaced hundreds of scientists and dismantled the independent research backbone that chemical regulators depend on to function, that decision did not streamline anything. It weakened chemical safety, it undermined public trust, and it slowed down the reviews industry claims to care about. So I want to ask you, Dr. Myberg, a couple of questions. From your experience, does independent research at ORD speed decision-making and innovation, and how would gutting or eliminating this office increase uncertainty, litigation risk, and delay?
Thank you very much for that question. The ORD work makes, I think, decisions in the long run more streamlined. It sometimes can create more discussion because you get different perspectives from different parts of the agency. And this is not unlike any other organization where you have people who bring different points of view. From the standpoint of an administrator, what you really want is all of those perspectives and then to make a decision. So in my experience, a little bit of upfront controversy in the front end saves you a lot of time in the back end because you get better decisions that are less subject to litigation risk and to being overturned as arbitrary and capricious.
Sounds very reasonable. And Dr. Myberg, we know EPA's mission from the time it was created has been about protecting health and the environment. But I want to talk a little bit about TSCA and how TSCA depends on that rigorous independent science. And I heard Ms. Bertrand in her testimony talk about how the process is too slow. Will you talk about how the effect of gutting or eliminating ODR, how does that make the system, does it make it faster, safer, or more trustworthy for the TSCA process?
Again, I'll just speak from my observation experience. I don't think it makes the process more trustworthy, which in some ways is the most important part. A fast decision that people don't have confidence in is not going to be a decision in the long run that will be in industry's interest or the public's interest. And I think ORD gave insights in this particular area. And ORD is useful in so many areas across the agency that I'm not just speaking really about TSCA reviews. But I do think that that anything that weakens people's confidence that EPA is in fact using, as everyone has spoken to, the best available science in making decisions is really not going to be in the interest of anybody, any of the actors in the system.
I've been here long enough and on this committee long enough to agree with what you said. And I want to ask you, Ms. Bertrand, because I did hear your testimony, and we're always looking for smarter, better ways to do things. And we've heard criticisms that the chemical review process is slow. But can you talk about why it's important that TSCA requires EPA to base safety determinations on the best available science? The goal isn't to say we're going to speed this for the convenience of a corporation. We want the best available science. So can you talk a little bit about how that process could be expedited in a safe way that uses the best available science?
Thank you for the question. So the best available science would include in this process working closely with submitters of innovations on gathering up the data that is necessary to conduct the review, and when it's in hand, using that information as part of the review. So using science that's available, using science that is based off of the weight of the evidence, and working in a partnership with the companies that are doing the submissions, I think would help speed up that process.
Thank you. And I'll note for the record that Dr. Myberg was nodding his head in agreement, if you agree. So I want to ask you, Ms. Bertrand, do you agree with Dr. Myberg that eliminating or gutting the ODR will make the process slower, not faster, for TSCA review?
So what ACC advocates for is that there are adequate resources for EPA to conduct all of their statutory requirements, including the statutory requirements for timely review of new chemicals and the review of existing chemicals.
Okay, and I will add, as I yield back, that in my opinion and from what I've heard today, gutting or eliminating ODR is not going to further that goal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.